Hey, what's up, the connects out there in high vibes? In today's video, I just want to talk about building a strong spiritual foundation so that you don't fall off and you become these people out here that are snakes or egotistical. So, one of the first things that you're going to want to do is, work on your chakras. You want to start building off with certain energies by working in visualization on your bottom chakras. You're going to want to get a journal and you're going to want to start meditating and start making observations, and I'll just kind of get into why building a strong spiritual foundation is so important in a spiritual lifestyle and to grow as a spiritual person. Because, and I'll give you some examples why it's so important. Because in any, if you start to look at the world and how it can reflect with a spiritual aspect, if you look at a house, right? Say if you built a house and everything was unleveled, what's going to happen? Over time, things are going to shift in the house that was built upon, and eventually it's going to come crumbling down because it wasn't built properly. It has to have that strong foundation. And the same aspect applies, say, a tree, right? Say if a tree was, planted somewhere where it wasn't stable or stuff, it's going to wilt and it's going to die. It needs a stable foundation for where it needs to live for so it grows so it doesn't fall over or things like that. So you should take the same aspects from life and nature and the things around you to see the balance with it into yourself. And by building yourself a strong foundation, you're not only preparing for the future but into the now moment, so that way when you do reach certain points and things kind of move around, because you got to think of a tree, it moves around sometimes, even the houses move around, the wind kind of pushes it, nothing is going to stay the same, everything's always going to be in motion. So even when the wind blows, you can sometimes hear your house creak or a tree, but because if it's built on a strong foundation, it's going to be able to resist, and it's like having that shield for yourself as a spiritual being, to have that spiritual protection and that backing, so that way you can actually continue to grow, so you don't fall off your spiritual path, so that way you can grow as a spiritual person and reach the expectations that you want to as a spiritual person, so that way you can become a better person, help people by having that strong foundation. Because and that's how you're going to help pull other people up too, is be having that strong foundation. Because even in a house and in a tree, with that strong foundation, it supports life. There's people that live inside of houses, there's people that there's people that might live in trees too. There's people that build, there's a, I forgot what TV show it is, but there's a person that builds trees and houses, and look, they take the time, and if you watch, I forgot what it was, I think it was called Tree Houses, I'm not sure, but like the way he kind of did, even in a tree you live, there's balance. It has to be built on a certain platform, so that way it can grow and prosper, or actually, be stable throughout its lifetime until it has to move on to the next stage in life. So by doing that, meditation, making your observations, and doing these things is going to help you sustain your spiritual lifestyle and can keep that momentum going. Because even with a snowball, right? Say you build an unstable, unfoundational snowball, it's all lopsided, it's not properly made. It's going to have problems, it's going to roll to different sides, it's going to go different ways. It's not going to be that nice sphere that you want to roll perfectly the way you want it to. You have to build your spirituality like a sphere, like a shield, so that way you can continue to grow and prosper in that momentum forward uphill with your spiritual brothers and sisters that are out there, and not the fake ones. Because we got some fake spiritual people out there that want to talk, but they don't want to do the walking. But that's pretty much in this video. It's going to be a short little video. I just wanted to say, build that, build the right spiritual foundation and work on your lower chakras. Gain control over your lower states of consciousness, because that's, you have to work your way up the steps. There's always continuous momentum going upwards. You just can't think that everything already is and that it just is. Because if you think of spirit, right, spirit is always continuous growing. Because it's like, if spirit was just in its own sphere and was like, what, this is it, everything is what it is, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit there and it's going to become stagnant. So what did spirit do? It created and made the Big Bang, the magic. And what did it do? It keeps growing, it keeps expanding, because it has to, because it's consciousness. So what gives you consciousness? If you think that you don't have to say anything or do anything, you're wrong. Because this place, this dimension that we're in right now, this physical reality, this body, the spirit within your body, the spirit mind body, the one true Trinity that is inside of you, it always has to continue to grow. and they don't want you to grow. And that's when something gets in the way and says, all right, I don't have to put in any work because everything already is what it is. If everything is what it is, then there would be no point for you to even exist right now. There would be no point for any of this to exist because it already is. There would be no point to it. The point is to exist, to grow, to be motivated, to go even to higher stages of consciousness. That's the point of being here. If everything already is what it is, you wouldn't be here for a purpose because it already would just be what it is. So when you continue to grow, you will grow and you will prosper. You will have that strong spiritual foundation. But that's pretty much it in this video. Remember to have that spiritual balance with your foundation and make sure to always continue to grow and build on that foundation and continue to build, because as you grow, that foundation will grow. And the more that foundation grows, the more you'll be able to support yourself in life. The more you'll be able to see. You'll have wider, different aspects of rooms, different branches, different things that extend from your foundation that you've built because you've taken the time to actually go within as a spiritual being and make that connection with spirit, to have that foundation, so that way you can grow like a tree and be like those redwood trees. You can grow for a very long time because that foundation that you have and that growth is this monumentous. But that's all I want to say. My full love and my full gratitude to all those watching. Peace and out with the highest vibrations. Continue to stay tuned in. Keep turned up. And high vibes.